Hi, good evening, everyone. We'll just wait for 2 minutes till we start this event. So we'll wait for others to join and then we'll start this. Right. Okay. So good evening, everyone. I'm Colonel Shubhajit, and we'll just wait for a few minutes till everyone joins, and we'll wait for a little time. Right. Okay. Uh, just take some time for people to join, then we'll start. All right. So let's start. Not too many people have joined today. Maybe not a good day to conduct a CISSP webinar, right? So, good evening, everyone. I'm Colonel Shubhajit Naha. I'm the founder and CTO of Protect Technologies. I also happen to be the founder of Protect Academy. Uh, I started the academy almost 2 years back now. I started casually teaching on LinkedIn one day. I'll be honest with you. It was 2021. I was moving my way out from the army days, and I said, "What will I do after I go out?" I was in no mood to do a job, though I had a job, and I said, "Well, there's one thing which I can do pretty well, and that's going to be teaching because I was an instructor in the army." And I said, "Well, they said I was a good instructor, so let's try and teach people." And once I was myself doing CISSP, I struggled a lot. I'll be honest with you. And I struggled because there was no structured course available. There was no structured material available. It took me almost, I'll say, 5 years to get done with the certification. So I started somewhere around 2015, and I had the Cybex with me. I didn't know what to refer to. Okay, Prabh was also starting that time a little bit, so there wasn't much uh, guidance available to clear this beautiful certification. But this certification has been there for a very, very long time. It's almost a 3 decade old certification, and almost 1 lakh people out from US are actually qualified in CISSP. However, if you take that number to India, it's still reached only 6 or 7,000 odd people, right? So when I cleared my CISSP, I was the 1300th one, and in last uh, 5 years, we've only had 4 or 5,000 CISSP. That's very, very low compared to kind of our participation in cybersecurity and information security all over the world, compared to the amount of people who are working in cloud and in software development, in infrastructure. You know, compared to that, the total number of people who are actually CISSPs is very, very less. Now, that's a cause of concern. So, since that was a cause of concern, I said, okay, let me strategize and see what can I do to make CISSP more popular, much more easier? And is there a way in which I can uh, contribute more towards community building for CISSP? Now that was the starting point, and I went live on LinkedIn, and 150 people joined my class. And I conducted that course for free uh, for everyone. And from there, I started having the initial successes. Right. If you go on my LinkedIn profile, you will see one of the earliest person who passed CISSP. Right. That was in way back in 2022, and what I did was I made it simple. I made a strategy which we follow in the armed forces, right? We do multiple revisions before we go for an attack plan, or we have to launch an operation. We do multiple, revisions, multiple iterations to ensure that there is no margin of error, right? So that was a strategy I followed for clearing my CISSP. Once I ensured that, okay, I need to pass the CISSP within the next 3 months, and that worked for me. So in June 2020, I booked the exam, and once I booked the exam, I structured my three triple iteration strategy, and I passed the exam without any great difficulty within 2 months, right? So then I realized that this exam is not about how much content it is there, or uh, what is the depth of the exam. No, it is about consistency, it is about dedication, and it's about a very, very smart planning exercise with yourself. Okay, and to understand the terms and terminology and conceptually. Right. So with that as a aim, I've structured my today's webinar for all aspirants of CISSP. I know everybody in the cyber industry today wants to be a CISSP, but doesn't get appropriate time, appropriate guidance, appropriate mentorship, which is required to clear this exam. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically tell you what is the CISSP mindset. Everybody talks of CISSP mindset. What is the CISSP mindset, right? Now, if you look at security as a wholesome strategy, right, uh, you cannot become expert if you are a penetration tester. You cannot become a change management professional, right? You might be in depth in one of the tools, or one of the silos. Okay, you are an endpoint protection professional, you are an identity and access management professional, and then suddenly you can't be expected to become a specialist in data protection, right? So as you grow in your career space, and cyber is not a very, very old profession. Cyber is a very, very new profession. By If you look at it, right, it's just a 2 or 3 decade old profession. But we started talking about cyber as a cyber somewhere around 2008, 2006, right, when it was just security, right? It was either network security or endpoint security. That's it. But cyber as a domain started evolving somewhere around 2007, 2008, and we seriously start talking about cybersecurity. I will say, 2012. So the mindset is in CISSP exam is not to be an expert in all the domains, but a high level understanding of what fits where, right? If I'm talking about uh, identity and access management, why do I need identity and access management? It's something which you should be able to answer. What are the technologies around identity and access management? There are few technologies which you should be generally aware of, but nobody's going to ask you to deep dive into technology. So the mindset is to understand the overall spectrum of information security as it is applicable today in the era of the internet. Now, information security is not something very new. Okay, information security has been there for ages, since human has been processing information. So if you are looking at CISSP mindset, you are looking at information security, which rides over what has happened in the last 4 decades due to rise of the internet, right? To be honest. So how do you develop that mindset is more important, right? Then I'll look into certain pitfalls. People try to memorize things and try to pass this exam. Not possible. You cannot pass a 1,000 book 1,000 page book by memorizing and passing it's not, it's humanly impossible, right? So then I will give you certain exam strategies, right, which has worked on. Now, as long as I've counted my CISSP score count, officially is around 82 people, right, who have passed the ISSP exam with me. There are many who have trained with me, but only 82 people who have acknowledged, and which I'm readily available. But there might be many more who do contribute on the LinkedIn and say that, okay, I consulted your material, right? So I'm aware of 82 people, and from their strategy I can say that if it has worked for me and 82 more people, it will definitely work for you, right? And I'll then definitely tell you then how I conduct my live classes. Right? No, why CISSP is a game changer? Why is this certification a game changer? There are two major reasons. So there are some points written on the slides. I'm not going to read them. So why CISSP is a game changer is because once you have, say, around 10-15 years of experience, so, right, what happens is you start getting stereotyped in your career, right? I've seen it in the corporate world, I've seen it in the military world also, right? It's the same everywhere. So you got start getting stereotyped. Okay, this guy is a this specialist, this guy is a this specialist, he has to remain there. And you get stereotyped into one particular domain or one particular silo, and you don't get an opportunity to pivot, right? So then you somewhere touch the age of 40, and the age of 40 today is a very, very dicey age in the corporate sector. I'll be in the tech sector, I'll be honest with you guys, right? So unless you skill up and you are well ahead in the race from others, it's a very, very dicey age to be in, because you are a very costly resource and companies don't want to spend that kind of money on you. So then how do you lead forward? So you leap forward by skilling yourself, and therefore CISSP is one game changer which keeps you ahead of the race. That's very, very evident, that's very, very prominent. I attribute myself to starting the era of CISSP in the armed forces. Okay, I'm amongst the first few who did CISSP, and once I retired, everybody behind me whosoever came out, I just told them one thing: do CISSP, and they've all landed up with great CISO roles in good companies, in HDFC, in Larsen and Toubro, in Gramax, and all the CISOs. You go and look at them. They just retired after me. They did CISSP, and they are all at CISO level positions, right? So that is the game changer value of CISSP, because there are two very clear things, right? The first thing is you need to work hard for this exam, but work hard and work smart are two strategies which work very well for CISSP. So you need to work hard also and work smart also, and that smart part is something which you should not figure out yourself. You should learn from someone who's already done it, right? Rather than figuring it out what I need to do. There are a lot of people who clear this exam with their own preparation, right? But my thought process is, if there's a great help available in the market, why not utilize that help and sail across. You can check out certain profiles who have commented on my LinkedIn profile and read their attributes as to how they passed, right? There are people who have passed within 17 days also. I can name that person, Bhavika. She passed the exam in 70 days. There are people who have passed in 90, 100, maybe 150 days also, right? So the game changership comes from the tag which it brings along as an expertise. I'll not say an expert. You are not a hands-on. You don't become a hands-on expert. What happens is you can relate multiple issues, multiple risks. What a big organization or even a small organization, how do you view security? The perspective will change once you do CISSP. That's something which I can do. You can be a silo, you can be a expert in your silo, but once you do CISSP, your thought process is going to change around security. Till then, you are very, very rigid. You're like, oh, no, I cannot change this control. This control is very important, right? So once you do CISSP, your thought process changes, and that's why it's a game changer. Of course, it gives you a pathway to senior leadership positions. There's no doubt about it, right? So there are 8 domains. If you are not aware, CISSP has 8 domains, right? And these are all interconnected domains, right? So you have first domain as security and risk management, just talk about GRC. Domain 2 is about asset security, of understanding how asset ownership and asset life cycle is to be treated in an organization. Domain 3 is about security architecture and engineering, and domain 4 is about communication and network security. Now let me tell you, out of these 8 domains, the peak bell curve where the difficulty rises is domain 3 and domain 4. I'll be honest with you. Domain 1, domain 2, very simple domains. Domain 3 and domain 4 are very large domains. It covers a lot of ground, and most of the people give up here by third or fourth domain. They say, oh, it's too cumbersome, I cannot do it. Now that's where you need a push, and I come in and I literally push you guys. I'm a very bad I push people a lot. to achieve success, and there's no harm in pushing people to achieve success, right? So I push them, and once they are cross domain 4, then 5, 6, 7, 8 are rolling domains. 5 is about identity and access management. Sixth domain is about security assessment and testing. Security operations is seventh, and domain 8 is software development security. So you see, this is a wholesome package. You try to, you get a top level feel of a lot of things in which security deals with, and your thought process really changes after you do CISS, because now you look at not only confidentiality and integrity, you start thinking about availability also. You start thinking about change management. How can change management bring down your systems? You look at security not only from security perspective, you look at security from business perspective. How your actions can bring business value or can reduce business value. What is your ownership to the stakeholders? So we talk a lot about management aspects in CISSP rather than technical part of it. It's not a technical exam, it's a leadership exam, I'll be honest with you. It's a techno leadership, techno management certification. And that's why if you see any senior role, if anyone who expects you to be in a senior role expects you to be a CISSP. That's the crux of the CISSP exam, right? Now, why people struggle? People struggle because of, I've seen the practically, I've seen, I'll slide points are fine. First part is continuity. It's very difficult with your corporate life, with your travel frequencies, with your commitment at home. It's very difficult to commit to this exam, right? So that's first major obstacle I've seen generally with most of the people. Only those people who commit, and even with the existing circumstances, those who still commit and those who are very, very determined are the ones who pass this exam, right? So that's the struggle. First struggle, of course, you will have to give time. What is the ideal amount of time? I will say, if you can wake up early and you are an early person, right, give it 2 hours daily, and maybe you give it uh, another 4 to 5 hours on the weekends. That much is more than enough for next 90 days. If you do this exam is highly doable, right? uh, are there any complex terminologies and concepts? Yes. I'll be honest. When I did CISSP, I was not much comfortable with identity and access management. My experience set never went to you know to identity and access management, because most of the armed forces identity and access management was more of physical in nature, and we didn't have much technical controls over identity and access management. Or I had not, I literally didn't know what is, for us, identity access management was either physical access or some logical access with username and passwords. But we don't look at identity and access management as a critical security control, right? How centralized access control can work, how decentralized access control can work. Now, these were something which we never discussed or thought about, right? So once I did CISSP, and once I came out in the outside world, and then I could relate, okay, the outside world is very distributed. How do you bring access control towards multiple SaaS products? How do you maintain uh, identities inside your organization and give access to something which is much outside your perimeter? So somewhere the world evolved from perimeter based security to distributed security. Your applications are hosted all over the internet, your users are working from all over the place, and how identity and access management plays an important role today is something which was not understood at that point in time. So there are complex terminologies, there are complex concepts, but the aim is to tear them down in a much easier way and understand them. Study plan is something which I do believe in myself, because I give a very, very structured study plan, a 90-day study plan. I do a 40, roughly a 6 weekend program, right, wherein we go much beyond 50 odd hours of training, and a very structured manner, right? We go in a very structured manner, and uh, my aim is to only basically clear out the concepts. I don't make you do many questions, because that won't help in the CISSP exam. What will help in the CISSP exam is how well you've grasped the concept and how well you can apply that. And it's good that you do the practice exams yourself, because none of the practice exam questions are going to come. It's a completely application oriented exam. Right. So what has worked in my favor? I will say the 90-day strategy has worked very well, right? And when you're giving the exam, there are certain tips which I always give, right? You should read the question at least 3 times, and your reading ability has to be very fast. Now, how does this reading ability become fast? it becomes fast after your three iterations which I follow, right? So I give a 90-day schedule, and we have three recurring uh, practice, three iterations over the content, and then we identify our weak and strong areas, and then we keep eliminating the weak areas for this exam, right? Now, main driving force behind CISSP is risk-based approach. What is the risk in a given situation, right? And what is the risk, and which information security principle does it relate to? Is it to confidentiality? Is it to integrity? Or is it to availability, right? So what I have seen generally, people who have done three iterations and done roughly around 2000 questions understand the concept clearly, are able to eliminate wrong answers, and can make a judgmented decision on which is the right answer, have generally have been the people who have passed this exam. Right now, what pitfalls I have generally seen: people who try to memorize. If you are trying to memorize the content for this exam, you're not going to pass. You have to understand the high level application of the concept from a very senior person's perspective, right? So you have to do that to ensure that you you know don't apply yourself as a L1 or an L2 or an L3. You're looking at from senior perspective, senior level perspective. You do not get in technical answers to policy level issues, right? Now, I have seen security does not fail because of technical controls. Security fails because of process controls. Your process somewhere down the line fails, and once the process fails, somebody forgot to update the patch. Log4j was there residing for last uh, you know uh, 12 years or 16 years, and you never patched your servers. And 2012 log4j was detected. It was there, the patch was there on Microsoft, and people never updated their servers. So it's got security controls don't fail. What fails is your processes, right? So can you detect that high level understanding of security, that it is the policy which drives security and not the controls which drive security, right? Memorizing is a total no right? No matter, you may do 10,000 questions, but still you will not pass. And you just read the book once, understand completely, do 100 questions, and you'll still pass. That's what I can say. If you have read the book, you understood the concept, you applied, you just did 100 questions to see that, okay, whether I have adequate understanding, you will pass this exam, right? So how do we create this structured study plan? Right. So what happens is, I divide this study plan into 90 days. First is a 40-day study plan with me. Then you have another 30 days of study plan, which is you are going to do yourself, and then 20 days of weak area elimination and practice questions. Right. So what we do is we do reading the book. Of course, video learning is from my side, and practice tests are there's a very official content that's more than enough, right? So what we do is we put it in a very structured manner, and then once you reach that third iteration is where uh, you know you will lay it down. And then once it happens, then what will happen is, uh, within those 90 days you will easily be able to come up to a situation where you can pass this exam, right? Right. So I'm starting this uh, course 16th of November, and it will be between 7 to 11 a.m. And once this happens, we will start around Sunday, and this uh, we have done this. I think this is my 20th or 30th course which I am taking, right? And once this happens, we will be doing this training over a period of around 12 or 13 weeks, and then you can book the exam and take it forward, right? So if you are interested, you can get in touch with us, and you can attempt this exam within, I will say, 90 to 100 days. So let's I'm open for questions. If you have any questions, you can put the questions out, and then uh, we can uh, take the questions on. Right, you can get in touch with our team, and then right, if you have any questions, please ask. I'm ready to. Each module, how many questions? See, I'm telling you, you don't have to prepare questions, right? This exam is not about questions, right? This exam is about uh, whether your concepts are cleared out or not. So if your concepts are not cleared out, no matter how many questions you do, it will of no help. But yeah, for understanding, yeah, maybe around total you must do around 2 to 3,000 questions at least. 200 to 300 questions per module is sufficient enough. No, CEH or any other certification is not necessary. What you need is 5 years experience to get a CISSP badge. If you don't have 5 years of experience, you can you can what you can do is you can get an associate, and then once you have 5 years of experience, you can get that. How many mock tests? We have multiple mocks above 3,000 questions. But I always say those mock questions are of no use. What is of use is the concepts, right? So the tests are of no use for CISSP exam. Okay, you might do 10,000 questions and still you will not pass. But you have done probably just 100 questions, but your concepts are really clear, you'll pass the exam. Right. Any other question? I'm from corporate security background. Is it doable for me? I don't know if you have IT experience, Manoj. If you do not have adequate IT experience, I would not give that suggestion for you to do. If you have worked in IT for at least 5 years, and you understand, you come from a technical background, you've handled say 2 to 3 domains, then I would only recommend you. Somebody who's coming from a corporate physical security background, uh, it's not that it's not doable, but I will not recommend it on the first go. Right? That would be my suggestion. Unless you are from technical background or you have a degree in technology, then maybe we can explore. But if you don't come from that background, then initially it will be difficult. You can prepare, and there are multiple other certifications which you can start with CompTIA Security Plus, get some confidence there, and then maybe you can look at it, right? Right, any other questions? If you're IT head, I don't see why you should not do CISSP. I always recommend CISSP for anyone who is in the IT background today, right? Because if you've worked in IT for so long, I don't see why you should not be a CISSP, right? Right. Any other questions? What is best preference, CISM or CISSP? Well, both are different certifications. CISSP is, of course, more uh, coveted, and CISM is uh, it has 5 domains. So if you look at difficulty wise, of course, CISSP is much more difficult compared to CISM. CISM is also a good information security management role, but CISSP is more of a high level, slightly for it's appreciated well for CISO level or director level roles. Right then. Thank you so much. I've taken questions, and if there are any more questions, you may please ask. And our batch is starting on 16th. If you are interested, please get in touch. The numbers are flashed. You can send a voice note or a text, and our team will get in touch with you. Thank you. I hope you liked the session, and our team's in touch with you. Take care. Bye bye, and best of luck with your preparation and exams. Thank you, and take care.